Good afternoon and welcome to the afternoon session of the Info Day for the Horizon Europe Cluster 1 Health. My name is Szymon Bielecki. I am Head of Sector for Research Coordination in the eHealth, Wellbeing and Aging unit of DG Connect, standing for Communication Networks, Content and Technologies. Today and in this session we will concentrate on Destination 4 of Cluster 1, which is ensuring equal access to innovative, sustainable and high-quality healthcare. Topics under this destination are directed towards the key strategic orientation 2, the digital transition, and key strategic orientation 3, a more resilient, competitive, inclusive and democratic Europe of Horizon Europe Strategic Plan 25-27. Research and innovation supported under this destination should contribute to the following expected impacts set out in the strategic plan impact summary for health cluster. Healthcare systems provide equal access to innovative, sustainable and high-quality healthcare thanks to the development and uptake of safe, cost-effective and people-centered solutions. This is to be accompanied by management models focusing on population health, health system resilience, and health equity and patient safety, and also improved evidence-informed health policies. In this work program 2025, the focus of this destination will be on enhancing healthcare efficiency and cost-effectiveness with generative artificial intelligence solutions, augmented by other AI tools that aim to support healthcare professionals in decision-making, offer improved personalized care, and to develop sustainable practices by leveraging the availability of the different types of health data, and improving patient engagement and empowerment by increasing public knowledge, trust and acceptance of AI tools, leading to better understanding of medical information and to improved patient outcomes, while also improving the communication between patients and healthcare providers, as well as between healthcare providers. Next slide, please. In this work program 2025 in Destination 4, we have just one topic called End-User-Driven Application of Generative Artificial Intelligence Models in Healthcare, GenAI for EU. It is a single-stage research and innovation action with a total budget of 40 million. We expect a project of more or less the size between 15 and 20 million euros. So relatively big consortia for a big impact that we expect to be able to provide with this topic. I have with me my colleague from my unit, Mathieu Radven, who will, together with me, reply to your questions that you might publish on Slido, which you can get the link from the website. And please do not ask horizontal questions, do not ask generic questions. We will now discuss only this particular topic. All the horizontal aspects you can find either in the recording of the morning session or in the frequently asked questions on the funding and tender portal. So now we can start with looking into the questions. And in the meantime, of course, you can post additional questions. The first question is, develop one GenAI solution that can be applied across multiple use cases or several tailored GenAI solutions for different use cases. Mathieu, please.
Thank you, Szymon. So the focus here is to develop solutions with multiple use cases. And so this is what should be prioritized.
Thank you. And the next question is, this topic is a research and innovation action, but in the text, applicants should provide evidence of a high maturity technology for the use cases. What level of TRL is expected?
So this one, we will have to respond via the accuracy and consistency to the response. Thank you.
Should there be a common AI concept for all use cases, or can there be multiple solutions?
The topic text talks about generative AI models augmented by other AI tools to support healthcare professionals. So the solutions don't just need to be generative AI based.
Yes, and I may add that there could be multiple solutions addressing different use cases. Could you clarify the expected role of HTA bodies in relation to Gen AI technologies?
Yes, so at a minimum, there should be interactions with HTA bodies, and this should be included in the development of a regulatory strategy and interaction plan. This is something, this specific regulatory strategy and interaction plan is mentioned in the topic text. Thank you.
What level of involvement do you anticipate from AI factories in this project?
The topic text says successful proposals are encouraged to utilize the resources offered by the AI factories when relevant. And so we would encourage the use of AI factories as part of research and innovation on this topic.
The next one is in the core care 1, is the AI research expected to start at low TRL, or the focus is on deployment of high TRL solutions into practice?
The focus is on the deployment of high TRL solutions into clinical practice.
Good. Then should the generative AI solution be based on a European-made foundation model, or, for example, could be based on a GPT of OpenAI?
This is a very good question. For the sake of accuracy and consistency, we'll provide a reply in writing on the FAQ section of this topic in the funding and tenders portal.
Good. The next question, how is virtual assistant defined for the purpose of the call?
Virtual assistant has a very broad definition. So really the focus here is use of generative AI and combination of lots of different data types. The examples given in the topic text are electronic health records, medical imaging, genomics, proteomics, molecular data, laboratory results, patient information. So the topic text is deliberately not very prescriptive. Thank you.
Indeed. Applicants should demonstrate high technology maturity for the use cases. Is this prior to testing or as an outcome of the project activities?
This would be prior to testing.
Yes, because here in the text we have about the mention of applicants. So that is really the application stage where they should already demonstrate the high technology maturity. Does different medical fields mean different medical areas like cardiology, oncology, or different disciplines in one medical area like surgery, drug treatment?
Yes, for consistency and for accuracy, we'll provide a written answer. We'll provide a response in writing on the funding and tenders portal. Thank you.
In the work program, there are examples of health imaging like MR, CT. Do we understand correctly that under these imaging techniques are also included electrocardiograms?
They are, yes, electrocardiograms would be included.
Thank you. How broad or how specific shall the use cases be? Can you give examples?
This is the use cases can be as broad as the applicant see fit. The requirements again are that they need to be tackling a minimum of two healthcare use cases in different medical fields and unmet needs. This is the only criteria specifically mentioned in the topic text.
Are private companies welcome to participate in the course?
Yes, private companies are welcome. So as the topic text mentions that research actions under this topic should include a broad representation of stakeholders in the consortia. So that includes industry, academia, healthcare professionals, patients. We think this is essential for successful projects. There's also mention in the topic text of involving EU industrial developers, including leading edge startups. And we feel this is important for a successful consortia and successful project. Thank you.
Thank you. And I might complement that, as I mentioned, there's quite a big project, big budget foreseen for each project, and we really hope for big consortia encompassing the whole spectrum of stakeholders, of course, including also industry, where relevant. Most of the topics are to be centered in LLMs. Is this topic also considering other types of generative AI, like synthetic biosignal generation?
This is a good question. We will respond to this one in writing on the funding and tenders portal.
Yes. The next question is the focus of the call on development of lower TRL AI, for example, starting TRL 3, or their deployment into products and clinical practice?
The latter, deployment into products and clinical practice. One of the things mentioned in the topic text is that applicants need to demonstrate a reasonably high level of technological maturity for their use cases.
That was the last question that I can see on Slido. Are there any other late questions that you would like to post? I'll just give you a few seconds. If not, then thank you very much for your active participation. And if you happen to have more questions on this topic, you can still address them via the national contact points or via the funding and tender portal, the Research Inquiry Service. And we will reply and also post replies to today's questions on the funding and tender portal under the FAQ section of the topic description. Thank you, Mathieu. Thank you, all participants. And after a short break, we will go to the destination 5. Goodbye.
Okay, good afternoon and welcome to this information session on Destination 5, which is entitled Developing and Using New Tools, Technologies and Digital Solutions for a Healthy Society. My name is Arion van Hengel and I'm your moderator for this session, but I'm joined in the studio by Kyriakos Atzaros and online by Bernd Reiner and Anna Papageorgiou. So together we will go through this session. There are 4 topics in this session which will be introduced by my colleague Bernd. But of course I want to urge you to submit any questions that you have through Slido, and the information on how to do that you can of course see on the screen at the moment. So now the word goes to Bernd. Bernd, can you please introduce the 4 topics that we have under Destination 5 and which we will discuss today?
Thank you. Thank you, Arjon. And good afternoon, everybody online and connected to this channel. I'm Bernd Reiner, and I will give you a very brief introduction of the topics that are open under Destination 5 of the Health Cluster in Work Program 2025. The Health Cluster has a mandate to develop and stimulate the uptake of new technologies and digital solutions to improve healthcare and health systems, and accordingly, Destination 5 is the home for the technology-oriented topics, which normally pursue a disease-agnostic but technology-specific approach. Now, in Work Program 2025, Destination 5 puts emphasis on biotech-derived therapies and on generative artificial intelligence. As Arjon said, there are actually 4 topics open. All are designed as research and innovation actions and will follow a single-stage evaluation procedure. The first topic is on enhancing cell therapies with genomic techniques, which aims at the improvement of cell therapies through the integration of synthetic genetic circuits that operate as switches to modulate the desired therapeutic function. It is necessary to demonstrate the value and performance of the engineered cells in vitro and in vivo, and first in-human studies would be an asset. Another key feature of this topic is a portfolio approach with regard to the targeted therapeutic area. The second topic is also biotech related but cell-free, as it strives to advance cell secretome-based therapies. Projects under this topic shall be based on secretomes derived from human cells and with the main mechanism of therapeutic activity already elucidated. They should establish a GMP-conform manufacturing process and perform both phase 1 and phase 2 clinical trials to provide evidence of safety and efficacy for the proposed secretome therapy in humans. The third topic is on leveraging multimodal data to advance generative artificial intelligence applicability in biomedical research. It asks for the development of new or repurposing of existing generative AI models for biomedical research. A proof of concept should be provided for at least 2 use cases in different medical fields that belong to predictive or personalized medicine, and their clinical utility, robustness, and trustworthiness needs to be assessed and demonstrated. And the fourth and last topic is on boosting the translation of biotech research into innovative health therapies and aims at the bridging of the valley of death in the development of a biotech-derived therapeutic by giving support for the conduct of clinical trials, phase 1, phase 2, or both. And therefore, the applicants must provide evidence of regulatory approval for phase 1 already in their proposal. And another key feature of this topic is the targeting of SMEs, with 50% of the project's budget that should go to SMEs. So this was now a very short introduction, and I think we can now move towards the questions.
Okay, thank you, Bernd. So indeed, we will now focus on the questions that will come in via Slido, and my colleagues are ready to answer these questions. So the first question is for the topic tool 05. This call is for therapeutic vaccines. Is the call also open to prophylactic vaccine?
Yes, thank you, Arjon. The call is targeting the clinical development of novel biotech-based therapeutics. So prophylactic vaccines would not be in scope.
Okay, thank you. Now a question for tool 03. Is a final market-ready solution expected or appreciated, or must the focus be only on proof of concept and the AI algorithm development?
Thank you for the question. So the topic includes various activities that have to be achieved. And indeed, the topic text states that these activities are to feed into a proof of concept solution. If after completing these activities, the proposer and the consortium will indeed have a solution that could be seen as market ready, that would be very welcome. But indeed, the topic text states that in the first instance, a proof of concept is expected. Thank you.
Okay, so the next question is on cell therapy. Should the cell therapy entering a clinical trial already be off the shelf, or can the trial itself have help to establish an off-the-shelf product within this scope?
This question actually, is a bit maybe misleading, because in principle one cannot predict before the conduct of clinical trials, marketing approval and several other steps, if a medicinal product will really become an off-the-shelf product. However, with the focus on cells of allogeneic origin, the likelihood for a potential off-the-shelf medicinal product is increased. I think this is the real goal of this question.
Okay, thanks. A question on tool 02 is 46% of total budget, which then should be around 6 million euros for this topic, acceptable to subcontract one expert CRO for both phase 1-2 clinical trials if justified? Bernd, this is for you.
I do not know now the particularities of the model grant agreement, but in principle, the involvement of a contract research organization for the conduct of the clinical trial is allowed.
Okay, thank you. And question for tool 05. Is it encouraged to have a startup SME as coordinator of the call dedicated to biotech boosting? Anna-Pia?
Yeah, thank you. What is encouraged is the high participation of SMEs in the consortium. Whether the SME or a startup should be the coordinator, that is for the proposals or the applicants to suggest and to justify why it is best fit like that. Though, again, there are some limitations as to who can be coordinator. So administrative SMEs are not encouraged to be part of to be the coordinator. So those that help with the project management.
Okay, thank you. We're moving on to the next question. This question is seeking clarification on whether clinical studies are mandatory to include for the tool 01 topic, or if including CTA-enabled studies is sufficient. Bernd, please.
The conduct of clinical studies in humans in the topic 1 on cell therapies is not mandatory. However, it would be an asset if there would, at the end of demonstrating the performance in vitro and in vivo in preclinical models, if there would be the translation to first in human studies, it would just be an asset, but it is not mandatory.
Thank you, Bernd. So the next question is on tool 05. How are ATMPs eligible while blood components and other substances of human origin are not? Many ATMPs are derived or manufactured from using substances of human origin. Anna-Pia, please.
The reason why ATMPs are eligible is because it falls under the classification of a health biotech therapeutic. The reason why substances of human origin have been excluded is predominantly to avoid overlap with the other topic in this destination, namely the one that Bernd is answering questions for, which is also supporting clinical trials, so as to avoid overlap, we excluded the substances of human origin.
Okay, thank you. This
Yeah,
is
if
again,
I may add, if
yes,
I just
please,
may
Bernd.
add exactly, if there are products derived clearly from human cells falling under the legal framework of substances of human origin, there is a potential possibility for application under the secretome topic.
Thank you for this addition, Bernd. So the next question is on tool 05 again. This call topic requires evidence of regulatory approval at proposal submission or proposal implementation stage. What evidence is required? Anna-Pia, please.
Okay, so this is one of the eligibility criteria, which I would like to stress is very important that you upload in your submission the document in the specific area for this eligibility criteria, because if applicants don't upload a document in that dedicated slot, they will be considered ineligible. I would like to also emphasize that we have prepared a frequently asked question on this, because to be very, very clear as to what we are expecting. And therefore, this will be linked to the topic in the portal. So please reread what we have provided as written information on this. I will try to orally give a little summary of what we're expecting here. We are requiring evidence of regulatory approval prior to with the submission. So we're not, it needs to, so positive feedback, having applied, that is not sufficient. We want to have the authorization to perform the clinical trial. And again, this authorization has to be for a phase 1 clinical study, and there are also requirements as to where the location is for this clinical study to take place. It needs to be in an EU country, and should applicants be wanting to perform a multi-site clinical study in different countries, once sufficient regulatory approval is sufficient for the eligibility criteria, but it needs to be in an EU country, and that EU country must be amongst the countries that where the clinical study will take place during the duration of the grant. I appreciate it's quite complicated, which is why we've formulated an extensively frequently asked question on this.
Thank you for this, Anna-Pia. And indeed, it would urge the applicants that are interested in any of the topics to have a look at these frequently asked questions, because a lot of information can be provided through that system also. And of course, that will already help you with preparation of the proposals. So we move on to the next question, which is for tool 01. Are the digital tools for efficient design an obligatory element? Bernd, please.
No, there can be any tool which helps especially in the design build test cycles. Any tool is welcome. It is just given of course digital tools as well, like for example computer-aided design steps are very welcome and can be useful in the construction of the engineered cells.
Thank you, Bernd. So we move on to the next question, is for tool 05. It supports early stages of clinical research. Are some preclinical activities eligible? It has a maximum duration of 4 years. So are stage 1 and 2 trials prioritized? Anna-Pia, for you, please.
So preclinical activities are not eligible. The intention here is to support the clinical work, and the requirement to have the approval in place is so that this could be the focus of the grant. Indeed, maximum duration of 4 years. There are no priority. There will not be a prioritization on the basis of stages. I think, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Thank you, Ariane.
Okay, thank you. The next question is again on tool 05. Are there any restrictions on the disease areas of focus? Are therapeutics for difficult to treat cancers eligible?
Yeah, so there's no restriction on the disease areas. However, there has to be a strong justification of what the patient populations are that will benefit from the development of this therapy. And we have specified in the topic text that clinical indications where there are potentially large patient populations that could benefit will be favored.
Okay, thank you. The next question is on tool 01 and tool 03. And what are the key differences between these two in terms of main outcomes? If I can ask Kyriakos first to answer and then Bernd also.
Yes, as this is a comparative question, we can perhaps take it away and offer a full response for the FAQs on the funding and tenders portal. Bernd, would you agree?
Yes, well, however, we can already say that there is clearly a fundamental difference because the topic 1 is clearly on the construction, on the engineering of cells using genomic techniques in order to improve their therapeutic activity, to improve the functionality of the cells, and we need to have the safety and efficacy in vitro and in vivo models being clearly shown for those cells which are proposed to be used as a therapeutic, which is of course a complete difference to the topic 03. So I would make the fundamental difference of if one wants wet lab research in topic 1, whereas in topic 3 you are very much in the domain of in the digital domain, developing methodologies and digital tools.
Okay, thank you, Kyriakos and Bernd. The next question is on tool 03. It mentions biomedical research, health research, and healthcare, suggesting a broad scope. Can you clarify how close to the clinic proposals are expected to be, Kyriakos?
Thank you for the question. The topic text is clearly suggestive of a focus on biomedical research, but of course this cannot be seen in a vacuum. This biomedical research and the application of Gen AI models in that domain has to bring value to the further downstream areas, if you will. And in that sense, it has to be relevant for clinical insights and eventual application of the outcomes derived through biomedical research enabled by Gen AI models.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is on the same topic. Are the AI factories considered within consortium or are they external?
Yes, this is a very good question also because the AI factories have been developing very recently, and it's the offering in itself is being under elaboration. And as part of that, the access policy for the AI factories has yet to be confirmed. So we would certainly like to take this question away and provide a full response as part of the FAQ on the portal.
Okay, thank you, Kyriakos. The next question, it's on tool 01. Are the digital tools for efficient design an obligatory element? Simulations or in silico tools, are they included? Bernd, please.
Yes, I think it follows on a similar question we had already. It is not an obligatory element. It is just given as an example that for the efficient construction of the engineered cells, state-of-the-art tools shall be used, and this can include digital ones like CAD or others. But it is not mandatory.
Thank you, Bernd. We move on to the next question, which is for tool 03. Are clinical diagnostics also eligible for this call? So, for instance, new multimodal screening tools, or only basic biomedical research or lab research?
So the answer is no to the clinical diagnostics as an area. This is clearly relevant to the Gen AI topic in Destination 4. And I think we can leave it there for that one.
Okay. Then we move on to the next question, which is also for tool 03. So should there be a common AI concept for all use cases, or can there be multiple solutions?
Yes, thank you. I believe the same or similar question was asked also in regard to the Destination 4 Gen AI topic. This could be up to the applicants to define first and foremost the concept and then the commonality of it when it comes to the use cases. The topic text clearly is requesting at least 2 use cases relevant for predictive and personalized medicine in different medical fields. So essentially, as part of your elaboration of your proposal, you're more than welcome to look at this as an aspect of your choice.
Thank you, Kyrgios. So we move on to the next question, which is on topic tool 01. Are proposals starting at AI-guided discovery and genetic circuit design phase eligible, or is a higher starting TRL required? Bernd, please.
This sounds. Maybe you can repeat once again, but this sounds to me as absolutely in scope as a potential genomic technique which could be used for improving the functionality of the cells.
So I can repeat the question, and then you can confirm if your answer is what you wanted to give, Bernd. So are proposals starting at AI-guided discovery and genetic circuit design phase eligible, or is a higher starting TRL required?
Well, of course, it can just be only a tool in order to achieve the desired function of the cells. It cannot be just the target of the research work, but an element in order to construct the cells with their functionality which is wanted.
Okay, thank you very much, Bernd. So we move on to the next question, which is on tool 05. How is large patient population determined? Is there any threshold of prevalence in clinical indications? For instance, 1 in 1,000 or anything like that? Anna-Pia, please.
Yes, thank you for the question. I guess I'd probably like to emphasize that what we're asking proposals to do is to explain the patient populations that will benefit directly from the therapies that they're developing, and also justify that. So evidence how they come to those patient populations that will benefit. And it will be for the evaluators to assess whether there is a larger patient population that will benefit in one proposal versus the other. So the more evidence or the better justification that exists in the proposal, the better the case.
Okay, thank you. We're moving on to the next question, which is for the same topic. How will proposals for high prevalence indications be favored? According to prevalence of clinical indications, what is the latest possible start date? So it's actually 2 questions.
So I think I answered the question on how high prevalent indications would be favored. That's something that external experts will assess during the evaluation, but of course they need to use the evidence that is in the proposal. And with regards to the latest possible start date, that is something that needs to be seen within the implementation of the awarded or the proposals that are selected for funding. Together with the contracting authority. So that's for HADEA to discuss with fundable proposals.
Okay, thank you for that. We move on to the next question, which is on tool 01. Are CROs eligible and encouraged to participate in consortia to support CTA-enabling studies? Bernd, please.
Yes, contract research organizations can be part of the consortium, obviously. As long as they obey to the rules and the restrictions in the model grant agreement. But otherwise, they are welcome and can be subcontracting of specific partners. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Bernd. We move over to tool 03. An old draft mentioned a start TRL 2 to 3 and end 4 to 5. This is removed now. Are we still aiming around there, since it's a heavy new research-oriented call? I can answer that question myself, actually, because we're not discussing any old draft. We're discussing here the work program as it has been published, and that is the only valid work program. So we will not answer this question. So we can move on to the next question, which is on tool 02. Is a secretome-based therapy invented for use in transplantable organs, not direct patient delivery, eligible?
Not direct patient delivery. Well, I wonder how is the if the way of administration is clearly indicated and makes sense, there is no problem. However, normally the target of this topic, we think very much about applications which use trophic factors or exosomes which are secreted in the extracellular space and have strong therapeutic functionalities. So I would say that normally an oral administration would probably rather be the exception than the rule here for applications under this topic.
Bernd, may I just, step in here? I think the question is more if it's an ex vivo therapy. So if, for example,
ex vivo therapy.
Yeah,
okay.
So the secretome-based therapy is used to improve the transplantability of organs, for example, rather than directly given to the patient.
Can absolutely also be the application. Yes. We have no restriction in terms of disease or defect. So it is I think the only restriction is, or at least a sort of priority, that the dysfunction or impairment targeted, the preference should be given to conditions that affect larger populations.
Okay, thank you both. We're moving on to the next question. This next question is also on tool 02. So phase 2 clinical trials must be completed in the end. What specifically is expected with further authorization of secretome-based therapy during the project? And Bernd, please.
There actually, I guess the question points to the word further, which is mentioned in the topic scope. Actually, the goal or the purpose of the topic is that phase 1 and phase 2 studies are conducted during the lifetime of the project, and then the further step, like the marketing approval, this must not necessarily be part in the project. This can happen after the lifetime of the project.
Thank you very much. We move on to the next question, which is on tool 03. Should the medical device regulation be considered for this topic, Kyriakos?
Many thanks for the question. This really depends on your proposal and the scope of it. In the first instance, of course, that the topic is about biomedical research. We could envisage situations where regulatory compliance in these terms could be in scope, but this will be evaluated on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you. We're moving on to the next question, which is on tool 01. What is the maximum expected duration of projects under this topic? Bernd, please.
In principle, there is no restriction. I would say that, a normal project duration, which is in the range between 4 and 7 years, is standard, but there is no time-wise restriction given a priori for projects under this topic.
No, so thank you, Bernd. And that goes for all topics except for if it's mentioned specifically in the description of the topic what the maximum duration is, which is, for instance, for tool 05 the case. So we can move on to the next question, which is for tool 01. Is development of autologous cell therapy possible under this call? Bernd?
In principle, not. The goal is here really to use human cells of allogeneic origin, also for several reasons. One of them also being that we would limit with this also the strengths of the constituency, the research constituency in the domain of cancer, where very much the type of autologous treatment of cancer, autologous cell therapy against cancer can be limited a bit. And moreover, what we want to achieve with this topic is to open the way really for off-the-shelf medicinal products. And for this, cells of allogeneic origin are certainly the better choice.
Thank you. We're moving on to the next question, which is also for tool 01. Are cell therapy projects starting at discovery stage eligible?
Well, the depends what discovery stage is. I think the scope is quite explanatory on that. It needs to be demonstrated. First, there need to be these switches installed within the cells, which enable to switch on and switch off and to modulate the therapeutic functionality. So to handle that already, this construction of those augmented cells and then the performance of the appropriate in vitro and in vivo studies is are quite substantial tasks. So as long as this is done, all the other things can be components. But the core is really to demonstrate in vitro and in vivo that those engineered cells really perform those functions which were desired.
Thank you, Bernd. We move on to the next question, which is also for tool 01. If no clinical trial is included in the proposal, do we still need to complete the clinical study annex as a prospective plan?
No, in principle not. If you are not intending to run clinical trials, and since they are not mandatory, you don't have to fill in the template.
Thank you, Bernd. Very clear. So the next question is for tool 05. Does regulatory approval need to be for the specific trial targeted by the project, or is it enough to have trial approval for a different indication? Anna-Pia, please.
Yes, the regulatory approval needs to be for the specific trial targeted in the project.
Thank you. We move on to the next question, please. This question is for tool 01. Are synthetic cells eligible, Bernd?
In principle, they are not excluded. Yes, we can open the topic can be open to fully synthetic cells. Yes.
Okay, the next question is on tool 02, which is actually about the length of the proposal. Will this be a 50-page proposal or lump sum? So I think we should answer on what is the expected length of the proposal, which I think we have to see what are the maximum allowed length according to the work program. So this is not specific for 02, but it of course specific for all the topics as such. So I think we can move on to the next question. This is for tool 03. Develop one generative AI solution that can be applied across multiple use cases or several tailored Gen AI solutions for different use cases. Kyriakos.
So it would be helpful to focus on the topic text for this one. So the first bullet requires applicants to develop new or repurpose existing generative AI models. So that is in plural. And then after that, we have the second bullet where the requirement is to develop a proof of concept with at least 2 use cases relevant for predictive and personalized medicine in different medical fields. So essentially, based on the inclusion and the development or repurposing of Gen AI models, we are looking at the one proof of concept applicable to 2 use cases in different medical fields, demonstrating then the scientific added value compared to methods currently used.
Okay, thank you. We move on to the next question, which is for tool 02. Are the mechanisms have to be fully understood, or can some research activities on mechanism knowledge be considered? Bernd, please.
In principle, yes. The main mechanism of action of the targeted secretome therapy should already be elucidated, but there can be, of course, confirmatory studies because the mechanism of action is certainly not alone. There is, especially if a cocktail is to be applied, this can be part of the action.
Okay, thank you. We move on to the next question, which is for tool 03. Given the healthcare focus of tool 01, would biomedical research proposals, for instance, using multimodal molecular cellular data, fit tool 03's scope? Kyriakos.
The answer to this would be yes, and I would indeed lay emphasis on the use of multimodal data. This is really at the core of the topic, and proposals would be very welcomed indeed, if not required, to draw on the use of multimodal data as part of tool 03. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So with that, we are finishing. I think we've reached the end of this session. So first of all, I would like to thank the people watching it very much for their attendance. I would very much thank my colleagues for providing the answers. Of course, there is the frequently asked questions part on the website where you can see more information, and we'll try to answer as much as possible of your questions that have come in the most appropriate way. So again, let me thank you very much for your attention here. This is the end of our session. Here after this, after a short break, I think we will move on with Destination 6. So goodbye from us.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome everyone to the very last session of this event, where we will speak about the Destination 6, maintaining an innovative, sustainable and competitive EU health industry. Before going to details, let me introduce myself and the colleagues. My name is Tomasz Dylong. I work at the Director General for Research and Innovation as Head of Sector for Health Industry. And we will run this session together with my three colleagues, Anna Pia Papageorgiou, who is the Policy Officer, also a Director General for Research and Innovation, and two colleagues from the Director General for Health and Food Safety, Chiara Orlandi and Peter Bischoff-Everding. Let me start from recalling the expected impacts of Destination 6. So overall, this is to make the European health industry, including SMEs, more competitive and sustainable. We would like to ensure that industry is supported by cross-sectoral research and innovation, notably in the context of the convergence of health technologies. We would also like that health industry works more efficiently. We would like to see a very swift uptake of new technologies and services in real-life healthcare. And we would like to ensure the reliable and timely access to key manufacturing capacities for essential medical supplies. We have three topics in this destination. If I could get the next slide, please. We have two single-stage topics, both with the submission deadline of the 16th of September 2025. The first topic is for an innovation action on optimizing the manufacturing of ATMPs, the Advanced Therapy Medicinal Products. Under this topic, we have the total of 40 million euro available, and the indicative project size is 6 to 8 million euro each. The other topic is for a coordination and support action for the digitalization of conformity assessment procedures of medical devices and in vitro diagnostic medical devices, here with the recommended topic size of 4 million euro. And the next slide, please. The last slide is a research and innovation action, the last topic, on facilitating the conduct of multinational clinical studies of orphan devices and or of highly innovative so-called breakthrough devices. This topic will run through the two-stage procedure, and the submission deadline in the first stage is also 16 September 25, and the deadline of submission for stage 2 will be 16th of April 2024. Again, here the total budget available is 40 million, and the indicative project size 6 to 8 million each. As for the previous sessions, we are using Slidos, so you can post your questions there. To facilitate the session, please, I would welcome if you could indicate the topic number to which your question pertains. It's enough to say topic industry 01, 02, or 03. So with that, I think we can start. I am aware of two questions which were submitted so far, but maybe let's go indeed through the questions which coming on right now. Starting from the topic 03. Does this call enable highly innovative devices that are not related to orphan devices? And this relates to the mention in the topic of and or highly innovative. So Peter, that will be for you.
Thank you. The question is, the answer is clearly yes. And this is also stated in the work program that highly innovative breakthrough devices may be, or clinical studies for those devices may be eligible, regardless of whether those devices target a small size population, a small size patient population. So it can be a breakthrough device that targets a large patient population.
Thank you. The next question is also for topic 03, so for you, Peter. Can this call fund a clinical study using an already CE marked device for a given application, but to apply for a novel CE IVD mark and application?
I assume that the question is whether the study can concern a new intended purpose for an already CE mark device, medical device or in vitro diagnostic. If this is correctly interpreted, the question, the answer is also yes, it can.
Thank you. Next question is on topic 01 on ATMP. So for Anna Pia, please. Is decentralizing an existing ATMP process from one GMP center to others aligned with the expectations of the call?
Thank you for the question. I would say that it is aligned. However, this call is very much about optimizing manufacturing processes. So not just about transferring manufacturing processes from one site or from one center to another, but really about improving the manufacturing process of a given ATMP for scaling up and expanding beyond its current procedure.
Thank you. The question for topic 03, so Peter. In case of an EU-wide clinical trial, whether all partners must have fully accepted ethical approval for the trial?
Well, first of all, I would like to use rather the term clinical study, not trial. Clinical trial is usually term that is used for medicinal products. Here, we want to support clinical studies with medical devices or in vitro diagnostics. So clinical investigations or performance studies. We call them clinical studies. The clinical studies, of course, need to have ethical approval in order to move forward. We have not put this in the eligibility criteria that at the moment of the proposal that needs to be there. But of course, in order to those studies to move forward, the ethical approval needs to be there.
Thank you. The next question, we are back to ATMPs and Anna Pia. Can two different established products within the same ATMP category be included in one application?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Again, it's in terms of the work program text, indeed, two different products within the same category would fit, and in the context of the mention of platform technologies being part of the scope, that would also potentially make sense. But I would keep in mind that proposals need to address all of the following activities that are described there, and there's quite a lot of them. So it would be very ambitious to cover more than one established product. But of course, it's up to the evaluators to see how well this is explained and justified in the proposal, and whether the requested funds match the work proposed.
Thank you. With the next question, we are back to topic 03. Are phase 2 trial eligible, trial or study? If so, how can we refer to our phase 1 study anonymously, please?
Well, that I think rather refers to the general rules that are applicable to the anonymity of proposals. But first of all, yes, phase 2 studies may also be eligible. On the second part of the question, how to refer to them in an anonymous way, I must there unfortunately give the question to maybe the colleagues that deal horizontally with the anonymity criteria and requirements.
Thank you. The next question is also indicated as for topic 03. Are novel therapies for neurodegenerative disease, such as Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's disease, eligible?
If the subject of the studies is a medical device or an in vitro diagnostic, yes. And of course, the other criteria, either being an orphan device, which is probably not in the case of the diseases that were mentioned, Alzheimer would probably not be qualify as an orphan device. But if this would qualify as a breakthrough technology device, it could indeed be.
Thank you. The next question, also for topic 03. What is a definition of a breakthrough or highly innovative device? Where can we find this definition?
Currently at EU level, there is no legal definition yet for highly innovative or breakthrough device. In the work program, we have described what we understand or what should be understood as a highly innovative breakthrough device. We are currently working on a guidance document with stakeholders, with competent authorities to set the criteria. And there are two aspects of the criteria for breakthrough devices. One is the technology. So it needs to be a highly novel technology. And the other is the more clinical aspect of the criterion. It needs to provide a significant positive clinical impact compared to existing alternative methods. Or if there are no alternatives available, it needs to address an unmet medical need.
Thank you. And the next question, also for the same topic, is breakthrough software as a medical device eligible?
Yes.
Thank you. That's a clear answer. Also for you, Peter, for topic 03, can or must SMEs receive funding?
Again, yes. Also the can, yes. Must would of course like to have many SMEs being part of the funding program. It's not a must.
Thank you. We go back to Anna-Pia and topic 01. Does the project have to create a center of excellence?
No, the project does not have to create a center of excellence. I think that that's a reference to the expected outcomes. And by that, I guess it's that the centers that will be part of this project need to demonstrate that they are really moving towards really the cutting edge and of the field in terms of the technologies and the manufacturing of ATMPs. So as with all expected outcomes, it's how the project will lead to meeting those expected outcomes that need to be described in the impact, rather than delivering that completely at the end of the project.
Thank you. And staying with topic 01, should the project focus on a specific product, or can it target general manufacturing platforms for a category of ATMPs?
So it's for applicants to decide what it is that they want to propose. However, given that we say that one chosen category of ATMPs need to be proposed in per proposal, I understand where the question comes from. I would say that a platform, I think platform technologies and manufacturing of platform technology is very much mentioned in the topic text. So that would be covered.
Thank you. Another question for you on the same topic, 01. Does the established use require a product to be approved or marketed, or can it include prior clinical use, like early trials or compassionate use?
That's precisely what we're looking to support here. It's not just for approved or therapies, but really for developers who have already started the clinical sort of trial stage that have an established manufacturing procedure in place. However, that procedure might have been established a while ago, and that they would want to integrate either novel elements in manufacturing into their manufacturing process, or allow for elements to be phased into that manufacturing process that give flexibility or expandability in the production line. So this is really important that that there is a documentation of the previously established manufacturing process, because that should be the benchmark to which the proposed new design will be measured against. Like the question says, compassionate use is allowed as long as the manufacturing process is well documented so that the key elements of performance can be measured against that.
Thank you. And now we move to a question on topic 02, so for Chiara. Shall the proposal address both medical device and in vitro diagnostic medical device, or each one is eligible? And it refers to footnote number 218, which says that both. We cannot hear you, I'm afraid.
Sorry about that. Yes, both the medical device regulation and the in vitro diagnostic medical device regulation are covered. So conformity assessment procedures foreseen by the two of them should be included. Clearly, there are several similarities among the procedures set in the two regulations, but also the specificities that are linked to the technologies that are either IVDs or medical devices should be taken into account.
Thank you. With the next question, we go back to topic number 3, and Peter. The topic aims to improve the market position of EU companies. Does this rule out US company involvement or comparisons of US and EU devices?
Well, the project primarily aims to provide European citizens, patients, access to orphan devices and or to breakthrough devices. I just have looked at the special conditions for the call, and there it said that in recognition of the opening of the US National Institutes of Health programs to European researchers, any legal entity established in the United States of America is eligible to receive union funding. So I think that replies to the question that also US manufacturers or US entities may apply for these calls. But of course, the purpose is the regulatory approval under the European regulations, EU regulations for medical devices and in vitro diagnostics.
Thank you for the answer. With the next question, we go back to ATMPs. Is it acceptable to consider established use in terms of technology platform, such as CAR-T or genetically modified human stem cells, not strictly tied to a single product?
I will try to interpret that question. I think perhaps that what I would like to say is that the established procedure the manufacturing process needs to be by the applicants. That perhaps that wasn't very evident, but I just want to say that quite clearly. Indeed, because we talk about platform technologies, it doesn't necessarily have to be tied to a single product. However, it needs to be focused on one category of ATMPs. So I guess, to be even more explicit, we are not looking to have a consortium here that will look at establishing optimized manufacturing procedures for gene therapies and also a cell therapy and a tissue engineered product. So it's really to focus specifically on one of these categories of ATMPs.
Thank you. We stay with the same topic. Is the development and/or the application of AI a mandatory requirement under topic 01?
It's not a mandatory requirement. However, I will say that what we're looking for in the proposals, so going back to the topic text, that the proposals have to address all of the following activities, whereby there is one bullet point on integrating either computational models, automation, robotics, or digital or artificial intelligence solutions. So AI would not be mandatory, but what is stated here is that the proposals need to cover activity that also covers this bullet point that I just read out.
Thank you for the answer. With the next question, we go to topic 02. Does the call also cover monitoring the notified bodies?
Well, the monitoring of the notified bodies, as well as the oversight and their designation, is a responsibility of the national authorities. So it's something that is totally out of this call, which is focused on the conformity assessment, on the digitalization of certain activities performed by the notified bodies, in this case, the conformity assessment procedures.
Thank you. With the next question, it pertains to topic 03. Can a phase 3 study be considered in the scope of the topic?
There are no limitations with regard to the phase in the core proposal. Sorry, in the project as described in the work program.
Thank you, Peter. Then we move back to topic 01 on ATMPs. Is it necessary to integrate the new developed manufacturing process into a clinical study during the project duration?
I would say it's for applicants, again, to propose what they think is the most appropriate type of work to do. A clinical study is not excluded in the topic text, but the main focus and the main scope is as written in the text, which are the elements that the proposal will be assessed against. I think the clinical relevance and regulatory validity of what is the new manufacturing process is one of those elements that is going to be looked at with the proposal. But really, this is not a topic that is targeting clinical trials per se, but really about optimizing manufacturing processes.
Thank you. Staying with you and the same topic, is it expected to validate the clinical utility of manufactured ATMPs or only validate the process itself against the status quo?
I think this goes a little bit in the same grain as the previous question. It's for the applicants to propose what they think is the most justified for what it is that for the technology or for the project itself. However, again, like I said, this is about optimizing manufacturing processes and ensuring that what is being the research and innovation is coming into that manufacturing process for the scaling up and the of these types of technologies to more patients. And for that, I would again advise applicants to look at the elements which we're looking to see in proposals and to ensure that the bullet points are well covered in what it is that they propose, just in order to ensure that they understand what is the expectations.
Thank you. Now the question about topic 02, but of a more general nature. Would it be possible to include two partners from the same country under this call? I don't know.
I guess this is indeed rather a general question. From our point of view, there is no limitation in this respect. Maybe what we can recommend is to take into account the diversity not of the countries, but rather of the notified bodies, because the aim of the project is to provide a proposal for the digitalization of the conformity assessment activities that could fit for all the notified bodies. We have 50 notified bodies under the MDR, 17 notified bodies under the BDR. So the workflow to be set up and the different steps to be followed should fit for all the processes established by the notified bodies, by the different notified bodies established in EU.
Thank you. The next question is for topic 03, referring to the fact that it's a research and innovation action and the TRL levels. The topic has a focus on clinical studies on safety, performance, and clinical benefit. Should we keep it within TRL's level 3 to 6, or can the activity extend to TRL 7?
Well, I suppose that TRL stands for technology ready level. We haven't used these terms in the description of the proposal. I think here it would really be for the candidates, those that draft a proposal, to explain which levels, which advancement of that technology they want to be covered by the study. And then that would be then eventually up to the evaluators to decide whether this is still kind of a project to be funded under this call or not. Per se, there's no exclusion and there's no limitation to certain TRLs, but it would really have to be seen on a case-by-case basis once the proposals have been submitted, and then to be evaluated by the evaluators.
Thank you for the answer. For the same topic 03, is there a preferred role for cooperation with national or international regulators?
Well, I would here refer, I think, to the third bullet point under the scope and what the proposals need to address. Because it's said that authorization for these studies may be relevant, and that the proposals need to address how those authorizations would be obtained. So early engagement, for example, with the regulatory authorities that have to approve the studies would, of course, be very welcome. Then, especially for orphan devices, and then in the future also for breakthrough technologies, there's a possibility to request scientific advice from the expert panels on medical devices that are managed by the EMA. For orphan devices, a pilot is already ongoing since last year. where the manufacturers can request scientific advice either on the orphan device status of the device or also on the clinical development strategy. That could be part of the regulatory strategy, so the engagement with regulators. For breakthrough devices, we aim to launch also this kind of pilot by the end of the year. So this could be part of a proposal, for example, that once the scientific advice on breakthrough is available, that this will be looked for. I think this is the main issues to be that concerns cooperation or engagement with regulators.
Thank you. And another question for the same topic, which apparently is very popular. What would be a valid indication for orphan devices in rare cohorts of patients?
Well, there I would like to refer to the criteria that have been established for orphan devices. It's referenced in footnote 223 in the work program. It has an epidemiological criterion, so a device that benefits not more than 12,000 individuals per year in the European Union. So it's an yearly incident-based criterion. And then qualitative criteria that address the unmet medical need. So either the device provides significant clinical benefit compared to available alternatives, or there's an unmet medical need, there are no alternatives available.
Thank you. And with the next question, I think we stay in the same area. Should the justification of a breakthrough device be based on European regulatory criteria only?
Since eventually the aim is to gather clinical data, clinical evidence for market approval in Europe, that is, of course, very relevant to look out for the developments on setting the criteria for breakthrough technology, breakthrough devices in Europe. As I said, currently we do not have these. They're currently in the development. They will be available by the end of the year. But in the absence of those criteria at EU level, looking, for example, at the criteria that are used by the US FDA for their breakthrough technology program can, of course, be helpful. Eventually, would again have to convince the evaluators that the device for which a clinical study is being planned and for which funding is being asked for, that the evaluators follow the same, are convinced that this is indeed a breakthrough technology.
Thank you. And with the question, we go back to ANAPIA and ATMPs. Can AI automation and process analytics in GMP-like settings be included, even if not fully validated at project start?
Well, I think this aligns with one of the bullet points that is in the topic text. Again, this would, I would say that it's for applicants to explain why they included something in a proposal, and then for the evaluators to then assess whether this is in line with the requirements of the call and whether this is competitive in line with the other applications. This is a little, as I mentioned, it's very similar to one of the bullets of the call. So, yes.
Thank you. Staying with you, ANAPIA, what is the definition of a center of excellence? Is it a higher education establishment that publishes in Cell and Nature?
Well, I think there is a footnote, or at least I believe there is a footnote in the work program, indeed, where we kind of give a very loose definition of what a center of excellence could be. And I guess that this might guide applicants to how they can justify their proposal will meet towards these expected outcomes.
Thank you. And another question on the same topic. Does topic 01 aim to involve more companies in ATMP manufacturing or tech development, or to support new technologies within existing ones?
If the question is whether both, so more companies that don't prior do ATMP manufacturing are onboarded, or whether it's the technology itself, again, I think that it is for the applicants to justify why what they are proposing is aligned with the topic text. The aim of the topic is, or the objective of the topic is to support the need to optimize or modernize or upgrade certain manufacturing procedures or processes in order to be able to scale up and to further deploy ATMPs across Europe. So I would say that is the objective. How to reach that objective is for applicants to describe well in their proposals.
Thank you. With the next topic, we go back to medical devices and topic 03. What is expected in terms of good practices related to the design, conduct, sample handling, or data analysis?
It is expected that the clinical studies are compliant with the medical device regulation, or the in vitro diagnostic medical device regulation. So this is what I would say is the legal framework. And then on top of the legal provisions on clinical investigations or performance studies, there are several guidance documents endorsed by the Medical Device Coordination Group. And there's also international standards by ISO, and then also transposed by the European standardization bodies, CN. So those documents should be taken into consideration when designing the clinical study.
Thank you. And before we move to the next question, I would like to reiterate my request for those of you who submit questions to please indicate to which topic they pertain. This will help us answer them in the most correct way. And I believe we are back to topic 01 and Anna Pia. Academic teams often work on platform optimization for future pipeline products. Will this be evaluated positively or excluded as not concrete enough?
So again, this topic is about targeting the manufacturing of ATMPs. So the platform needs to also fit within the scope of the ATMP regulation. I think that's as concrete as I will get in answer to this question.
Thank you. And a related question for the same topic. Can an established product A's manufacturing process be used for product B with the same platform, such as CAR-T, but for a different indication?
I would not see this as being out of scope. Again, I would urge applicants to justify how they align with the topic text in this case. But here, if I understand correctly, it's about using a manufacturing process for a second type of product, though in the same category. So this would be the question, but for a different indication. And then my question would be, where is the optimization part in this proposal? So again, it's not about just transferring, it's about optimizing and modernizing, bringing in new technologies also in order to make sure that the processes and the manufacturing processes of ATMPs can be scaled up and rolled out.
Thank you. And another question, I believe, related. Topic 01 calls for exploring the potential of platform technologies. Isn't this a necessary step before drafting a proposal, for instance, to find suitable partners?
I mean, it's for applicants to decide what they want to propose in their proposals. It's not, I think, for us. If I may say, this is about how generally one goes about finding the right consortium setup.
Thank you. Next question about devices again. Topic 03. For a breakthrough device multi-center trial, does ethical approval have to be in place at stage 1 of the submission at all sites?
I think that is very similar to, I think, the first question we had was also about ethical approval. It's not spelled out in the topic that this needs to be already that ethical approval of all sites need to be available at the stage of the proposal. But of course, as outlined in one of the bullet points of the topic, there needs to be a clear regulatory strategy that these approvals will be obtained.
Thank you very much. And this was actually the last question submitted to this session, and at the same time submitted to the whole event. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your interest in the calls of Cluster Health. I would like to also thank all my colleagues from the European Commission and from the HADEA agency for putting this event together. The recordings are available online, so if you have any doubts, please feel free to go back to them. And if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out to the NCP network. And also you can ask your questions through the Funding and Tenders portal, through the Research Inquiry service. And with that, thank you again and good luck with your applications. Bye.